guys, and welcome back to another iContrast career mode video. We had a really exciting finish in our first career mode episode, so if you haven't watched that already, be sure to check it out, and I won't spoil it. But yeah, cracking on with China now. I'm not very great at this circuit, as you can see there, getting a bit tail happy out of that final corner, but we still managed to go purple for our first first practice session, sorry. And yeah, not very great at this circuit, so it's probably going to be a bit of a poor episode in terms of our pace. I'll see what we can do. Only in Q1 at the moment. I'm not sure if we can even get out of this. Just the lack of aerodynamics into that turn 1 there. It's just really understeering and a lot of sliding, especially in the wet. So yeah, it definitely doesn't help at all that it's raining in this car. And I've cut that corner pretty deeply there. So yeah, just trying to use every trick in the book to try and get out of this session in a slower car compared to most of the field. I mean, we're still faster than the McLaren Honda and the Sauber, but apart from that, we're not much faster than anyone else. So we gotta take our advantages where we can get them, I guess, and we'll see where we end up after that lap. And it's only 15th, so we just scrape into the next session. I'm not sure if we can even improve on 15th, to be honest. And yeah, look, just after that, I didn't even improve. So, looks like we're going to be starting in 15th. Romain Grosjean has managed to get into 11th, but just gets knocked out of Q3. Doesn't make it, and we still both finish in Q2, but a lot slower than our teammates. Not looking very great for us. I do realize that I'm still running on the same engine unit as I did in Australia, just like every component I'm still running. Looking into the research and development tree, I've purchased the upgrade that allows the upgrades for the aerodynamics part of the tree to be about 10% cheaper. So that's going to help us with our future upgrades in that component of the car. So heading out onto the track now.
Plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth.
Especially when my car handles like a boat, that is.
What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Stroll, Palmer, Ocon and Sergio Perez, Grosjean, Alonso, Stoffel Van Dorn and Sainz, a HAAS, Kvyat, Pascal Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson. Massa and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Here we are then on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. It should be an exciting one. Looking at the strategy, it seems to be a 2-stop for the intermediates, but it dries out, so it definitely won't be that sort of strategy. Definitely start on the inters, but later on we'll definitely switch to the dry tyres. I'm not sure which tyres we're going to switch to. Maybe the softs or mediums, depending how late on the rain clears up, but we'll see how we go. We're going to drop the fuel load a little bit so we're not running with too much fuel, and then that way we don't wear out the engine that much, and then we can compensate for that later on when we have a better engine for the next race in Bahrain, which I'll switch to a brand new power unit, so should be a pretty good race for that one. But anyways, we're going to deal with the used power unit that we have from Australia and see how we go in this race. Heading out now into the formation lap, and let's see how we go. After a points finish in Australia, it's going to be pretty hard to follow a 5th position, but we'll see what we can do in this kind of circumstance of the rain. It does affect our car in a negative way, having the lower sort of downforce package compared to other cars in the midfield, of course. But we're going to try and upgrade that as the season goes on, and then we'll hopefully, by the time around Singapore, I'm going to say, hopefully have a package that can handle pretty nice around in the corners, and of course with the chassis as well, it'd handle a lot better. But 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights now. And away we go. It's been an awful start at the moment. Yep, they've honestly left us behind and we're going to get mugged by Verline. It looks like it going up the inside of me right now. Kvyat's ahead of me. We're going to go around the outside. Science is up ahead. We're going to try and stay on the outside, get the faster line because there's more room, and we seem to be making up a lot of positions. We've got Grosjean just in front of us now, our teammate, so we'll be looking to try and impress the team by overtaking him and staying ahead of him for the rest of the race. He comes across at us, almost takes us out. Jeez, that would have made the managing director of HAAS a bit panicking, but onto the back of Van Dorn now. We're going to go up the inside, make up another 2 positions, and stay right behind Palmer for the next S section that we got for the high-speed left-right-hander. The turning point is at the ripple strip there, and you want to make sure you hug that inside there so we can get a nice turn in for the second turn here. And Palmer seems to be pulling away, even though I did pretty well through that section, so that just goes to show that they got a better aerodynamics package. Even though the Renault is a bit slower in a straight line, I think it'll be a really hard target to overtake. Going on to the DHL sign, we're coming under pressure from Perez, who might make a move down the inside. No, he's not close enough, and we've ran wide a bit, so that's going to leave him to try and make a move around the outside, but it's not going to work. But he may have the run on us down onto the back straight, and we've lost the back end there, almost losing it, and we managed to save it just in case. But later on down the straight, Perez manages to get the run on us, and he is going to make that move stick unless we manage to hold it around the outside. We're going around the outside in first gear, try to get the maximum drive out of that corner as we can, and we managed to conceal that position from Perez for now, but it's going to be a real challenge to try and keep him behind for the rest of the race. Sebastian Vettel must be leading the race as he has set the fastest lap. Once again, being in the slowest car and not being very strong around China, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near as close to that fastest lap, or setting our fastest lap, that is, later on in the Grand Prix. But going down the inside of Palmer now, we managed to make that move to stay in our position, losing the back end a little bit, but Palmer stays behind us. Next up is Ocon. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to overtake him, but we'll see what we can do. He'll be really quick in a straight line in that Force India. They've got a nice Mercedes engine in the back there, but in the corners they should be a little bit weaker, but he seems to be being held up by Williams, and so as Verstappen, I think, just ahead. So we'll see what we can do. They're definitely being held up there, and now catching up to the back of Ricciardo, who must have been that Red Bull up ahead, and now he's got a engine problem or something. He seems to be very slow. I'm not sure if it's an engine problem actually, because he might be a little bit slow in the corners too, so he's nursing some problem there. Managed to make the advantage of that. Onto the back of Ocon now, who's still being held up by Stroll, which doesn't have a very great aerodynamics package either, but they do have a faster straight line speed than the HAAS, so we'll see what we can do, but we're definitely going to make the most of it as Ocon was being held up. I'm not actually sure if Ricciardo had anything to do with it, but hopefully we can get onto the back of him and use some slipstream, because DRS isn't available at the moment due to the wet weather. But onto lap 4, making headway on Ocon now. I think we seem to be gaining a bit on him in the corners. I think the Force India might be a little bit lacking in the cornering speed, but now he's made a mistake and he's hit us. But luckily we don't have any front wing damage, but that's going to give Ricciardo the run as he goes 3 wide with Ocon in the middle. We're going to try and hold it around the outside into turn 1. I don't think it's a really great racing lane, but we'll see what we can do now. We're going to go up the inside of Ocon now. We're going to try and see if we can pip Ricciardo going into the latter part of that turn 1, but we managed to hold on to P7 it seems. Stroll's just up ahead now. I think he's going pretty slowly, so next up we'll try and get onto the back of him and try and get him down the straight maybe. I'm not sure. But definitely a great start to this Chinese Grand Prix. We're already up into P7 after starting P15 on the grid. Definitely have the race pace over the qualifying pace. Maybe that's just due to the fact of the racecraft against the AI, I'm not sure. But now Kimi Raikkonen is out of the race once again. Ferrari not having a good manufacturer fight for the Constructors title because of reliability issues, but that might have something to do with the collision due to the Mercedes being stranded also there next to Kimi Raikkonen. I'm not sure who it was. Lewis Hamilton is out of the race as well. So the 2 top contenders in 2 of the fastest cars are out of this race now. That can only promote us into a higher points paying position. Hopefully we can hold on to that as we're in P5 now, going from P7 after that retirement from both of them. Ricciardo looking very feisty coming into that heavy braking zone as I've ran wide, and he manages to make the move up the inside. We're going side by side, but I managed to get the better traction out of the exit. and we hold P5, but I don't think it's going to be for very long as we got a whole race ahead of us, and that Red Bull is a lot quicker than us as the track is starting to dry out now. It won't be very long until we switch onto the dry tyres now. Hopefully we can have some more pace on those dry tyres, because at the moment we are just being attacked by everyone behind us. Heading on to lap 6 now, Ricciardo's got a good run on us as well, as our engine is really down on power now. As you can see in that bottom right hand corner, the yellow icon on our engine means that it's showing a lot of wear. And Ricciardo makes the dive up the inside, but I managed to hold it around the outside, but he's going to make it steer. Oh no, managed to get the better drive. So that's P5, or yeah, it's P5 still for us, as Stroll is still ahead of us, even though we're not losing much time to him, even though we're battling. Lap 7 now, onto the back straight, and we're getting attacked again by Ricciardo as both of them make the dive up the inside, as the two proximity areas turning red. I'm not sure what's going on, but we managed to hold it around the outside again, but there must have been some swapping of position as Ocon has made the move on Ricciardo, and we're going to dive into the pits now and try to put on the dry set of tyres, try and get the undercut on everybody else that's staying out on those intermediates, and that way we don't double stack with Romain Grosjean. Stopping nicely, putting on the pit limiter, and let's see if we can get a decent pit stop from the team to try and promote us up into a better position right now. As you can see, I had a slow entry into the pit lane as I was trying to switch my tyres from the wets to the dries, or else it would have ruined our race. And I was a little bit slow on the exit of that pit stop because I wasn't really ready with the clutch to disengage it. And now we're going to disengage the pit limiter and try and head out on track on these dry tyres on a wet track, sort of try and stay on the dry racing line and see if we can make it work. It's really slippery, as you can see. I'm not sure if we've made the wrong decision or not, because actually everybody's coming into the pits now, so I think we've done pretty well. Lap 9, we're coming out just behind Perez, who was originally behind us, so we've actually lost time, and he's on the super soft tyres while we're on the softs. We're going to try and make him move up the inside, try and hold him up later on, while his tyres would be really cold when we're already heated up from already having a lap out on track, even though it's really wet still. There's still a lot of people out in the intermediate, so they're going to be really disadvantaged just due to the fact that they didn't want to double stack. So we're going to see what positions we can make off from now. Only in P5, we've got a stranded car on the side of the road there. That's Kvyat. So that's another position for us, I believe. And we've got some yellow flags, but it's turned to green for now. I don't think we're going to get a virtual safety car. Oh, no, we've got a virtual safety car. So, oh, no, it's actually a safety car, full safety car for Kvyat being stranded on the side of the road there. I think he was still going, though. Might have been just nursing an issue. We'll have to find out later. But this hasn't really helped us out, because we would have caught up to all the people that are still on the intermediates being stranded out there on the drying circuit while on the wet tyres. So we're not really advantaged by that. But heading out now as the safety car's about to end. At least the only good thing about this safety car was the fact that we've managed to save some fuel, but now we're on track for that, and we can see there's a lot of wear to our MGUK, so we're definitely going to have to replace that for the next race, or else we're going to be suffering a straight line speed deficit, which you don't want for Bahrain, as it's a very reliant, power hungry track, and we don't want to be too disadvantaged compared to the AI, as it's really difficult already to try and keep up with these guys. And we're getting attacked once again on this pit straight. They seem to be loving the DRS, and Grosjean also makes it 3 wide, going down into this heavy braking zone once again, trying to hold it around the outside as they usually do. With this damaged engine compared to them, they must be getting a really good tow from that straight onto the back of us, but we managed to hold on. Grosjean's up into 7th now, so he's doing pretty well for the team. He's already made his stop onto the super softs, so he'll be making another stop. I don't see him going to the end of the race, so we'll have to see what's going on. Esteban Ocon has now retired from the race, so that's another position for us. Up into P5, Verstappen's ahead of us, while Grosjean makes the move, and we're not going to try and fight it too much, I believe, but we're going to try hold it. Nah, we've locked up, so that's not what's happened there. Grosjean's locked up too, and he's gone straight on, and Sainz has made full advantage of that. He definitely did need a second invitation, as Sebastian Vettel sets another fastest lap of the race, while we have another Toro Rosso going down our inside, but we're going to try once again to hold it around the outside. That's our favorite move this race, and he seems to have some pretty good traction coming to that hairpin because he manages to get in front of us for the next turn, and he held it around the outside. Yes, he does, and we're going to get the arrows. We're going to dive straight into his slipstream and make another move coming into turn 1. That long right-hander, see if we can make a move up the inside, going side by side, but he seems to have the superior traction, making contact there on his right rear tire, but we managed to make the move hold, and he goes up our inside for the next turn. And yeah, he just has superior traction on those softer compound tires. We're losing the back end, trying to keep it on the track, while that means Grosjean's going to have another good run on us, but I don't think he's close enough to make a dive bomb up the inside just here, so we're going to hold on for a bit longer until he gets up and close and personal with us. But cracking on to lap 20 now, everybody else has made their pit stops to go onto the soft tires towards the end. We're going to try and make it go to the end on these one set of soft tires, but as you can see, the tire wear and the engine are both really worn, so we're going to be extremely slow in this second part of the race, as Sainz has already closed up onto us after making his pit stop onto the soft tires, and he's going to make it the most of this going down the back straight. And as you can see, 60% wear already with another 5 or 6 laps to go. I don't think there's much we can do about this now. All we can do is kind of delay the inevitable, but he's going to get the superior traction coming out of that corner just due to having fresher tires. We're holding it side by side. We're going to have the inside line for the next turn. As we dive up his inside, he's going to go around the outside still, gets the superior traction. Not much we can do. We're trying to get into his slipstream, but he's wriggling all over the place trying to get out of that slipstream. We're not quite done yet. We're going to try and see if we can make the lunge up the inside of the latter part of turn 1, and we managed to get side by side just with him, managing to go around his outside for turn 2, but he's going to have the superior traction, and I think that's going to be the last of Sainz we're going to be seeing in this race until we get to catch up with him in Bahrain. Hopefully we can beat him there. Grosjean looking really quick, and he's right behind us too now. It's just going to be trying to limit the damage now as we're slipping further and further down the order. I mean, if we had really good tyre wear, this strategy would have worked a lot better for us, but at the moment we're going to be struggling to keep on to 5th place now, as Grosjean's going to make the move into the hairpin because he's already side by side with us on the back straight, and yeah, he's already got that overspeed, so we're going to try and hold it around the outside, but we've gone too deep, and that'll be all she wrote for that battle, I believe. And we've got Perez all over the back of us now just due to trying to battle with Grosjean there. He tries to hold it around the final corner, but we squeeze him out there, and he's going to duck into the slipstream and try and make the move into turn 1 if he's close enough, but I don't think he is. So holding on to that position for now as he makes the move into a different sort of position. The AI is trying to mix it up a bit now, and he's going to try and hold it around the outside of this long right-hander, and he does, but he tries to brake check us almost. That's compromised their exit onto the long back straight. I'm sure that's allowed Hulkenberg to catch up to us a treat, so, but we're going to make a long dive bomb up the inside of that hairpin onto Perez. I don't think he was expecting that, but we managed to catch him napping. Puts us into P6 once again, trying to delay that inevitable of losing all them positions, but we're going to try and hang on for as long as we can. Going on to lap 26 now, we still have Perez right behind us, and it looks like he's going to get close enough to make a move down the inside. There he goes. We're going to try and hold it around the outside, but it looks like there's not much I can do. Hulkenberg also sees the opportunity, and he goes down my inside, but it turns to the inside for me in this corner, but he just seems to have the superior traction, and he's going to get away from me, it looks like, and there's not much I can do unless I try to dive bomb just later on down this tight right-hander, but it looks like he's too far away, and I've over-braked myself, and I've locked up there, so that'll be the last I'll be seeing of Hulkenberg now. And it's just turned into a schmozzle now. I'm just losing positions left, right, and center. And here we go. He got Stroll going down my inside now, coming into the hairpin, but he doesn't even need the hairpin because he's already made the move. Look at the overspeed he's got. I'm going to try and hold it around the outside once again, but I'm not sure if it's going to do much because he's going to have superior traction, surely, and he's going to try and hold it around the outside for the final corner. He gets mostly around me, but I shut the door on him, and that's all that was said for lap 26. But still got another 2 laps for him to make the move, so I've got to stay on my toes to try and keep him behind me, but he's going to try go around the outside for turn 2 here, and it looks like he's going to have, once again, just enormous traction compared to me, and there's not much I can do about this apart from lunging down the inside, but I'm just too far back, so I'll lock up there, make a bit of contact into the rear of his car, but yeah, it looks like he's going to be trailing off into the sunset now, and that's going to be it pretty much for this race, apart from trying to keep the McLarens behind. I think I might have a better chance of keeping these guys behind, but oh wait, we got Kvyat, who is trying to unlap himself from me, but it could cost us because the McLarens are just behind him, and that's a major issue because we got to try and hold on to our last points paying position in P9, and then if we get overtaken by both of these McLarens, then we're going to drop into P11 with no points. We're going to let Kvyat go because he's going to be battling us all the whole lap, and we just can't afford to lose that time to the McLarens. But hopefully they're not going to overtake us on the straight because they just do not have the power at all. So the only time that I'm going to really have to stress about these guys is on the corners, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. They're just way too far back, and even though they have DRS and slipstream, they're just not even gaining at all. And I've even put it into lean just to make sure I cross the line because they're no threat going down that straight. So once again, keeping it in the points, another decent finish from starting P15 on the grid. We're going to come home in P9, not a bad effort, and that will conclude the Chinese Grand Prix.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in park for the night.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Valtteri Bottas, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Well, my driver of the day was Nico Hülkenberg. He did a cracking job moving through the field and just highlighting why he's so highly rated in the paddock.
On to the constructors then. Red Bull have extended their lead over the championship. Another team that excelled today was Williams, who make further progress up the table. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.
So that is it. That's going to wrap up the Chinese edition of this career mode. We don't have any career mode points to spend on the car for the next race, so unfortunately we're going to have to wait for the next Grand Prix to finish, and we're going to try and get as much resource points as we can on practice at Bahrain. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.